Thank you, Harley. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Oh, absolutely. Have a meeting.
Food back there, please, especially if you're angry or angry.
Oh, great.
Get a few cookies or donuts.
Go on.
I think we're in for a longer meeting today, so. Might be beneficial to have a. Cookie or a donut.
We need to call.
Hey, Becca and gang, can you guys hear me? Okay, just checking.
The implication that everyone else is like, dang.
We're the.
Yeah.
Can we get you put on a list?
Songs.
I think she's on. You sure she is?
All right, well, so you have a quorum. And you're good to start.
Sounds good. We will go ahead and call this meeting to order. First order of business is gonna be the approval of the agenda for tonight.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
All right, motion from Daniel and a second from Vanessa. I heard you, Jerry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And all opposed? All right. Second item is the approval of the minutes from last month. All right, get a motion from Vanessa and a second from Tim. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Moving right along. We've got staff reports, starting with the Wichita Fire Department.
I don't know where to stand. I'm new to District 3, so I'll come over here. Let me introduce myself. My name is Pete Ritter. I'm currently assigned to Battalion 2 at Station 2 on B shift. I was originally, as of the beginning of September is when I came over. I was out at Station 16, Battalion 4, and then came over here for a while. So taking a little bit of a temporary reassignments to cover some people that are off due to injuries and whatnot, so. Learning my way around how everything flows, so just be patient with me, but I submitted the DAB, the Wichita Fire Department DAB report. I'm not gonna sit up here and read it today for everybody, but you have copies of it here to kind of look through references. DAB 3 in September up to August 1st, there were 7 significant fires. 3 of the fires were deemed accidental. 1 of the fires was still under investigation, and then 3 of the fires are undetermined. That means the loss was too great to come up with the cause of the official cause of the fire. The fire on the 1900 block of East Wassel was considered accidental. Is the fire at the cooktop in the kitchen. Occupancy reported a grease fire while cooking. Called 911, got out of the house. Perfect scenario. Then in the 2400 block of East Terry, there's a 4-plex. This is one under investigation. Fire in front room near bed and window, lithium battery, electric cigarette charger. One of the malfunction and created the fire there. But that's what they're still under investigating. But that's kind of what they're leaning towards. The 1900 block of South Broadway was a detached garage. It was a fire chicken coop attached to a 1-car detached garage. Fire damaged a shed on the property to the south of it. Then in the 2600 block of South Rosemary Court, small fire in structural space. It was like a porch light, and the fire got behind the electrical box. And started building and burning the wood behind there. 4500 block of South Hydraulic. I made this one, kids were outside playing, they came in and said, Mom, the neighbor's house is on fire. It was a significant amount of damage, it was burning when the crews got there. Determined this to be accidental. It's unspecified electrical, came from the electrical area, is all I can kind of say. And then the 28 South Davison was undetermined, it was a vacant, unsecured board up structure. It was pretty much, I'm not gonna use the term fully involved, but heavy fire when crews showed up. It just went, it burned for a while before they seen it. It was first thing in the morning, not a lot of people out at that time. And then the 1500 block of South Topeka, it's another one I was on, it was a Saturday morning. Right behind Station 2, just to the south, heavy fire going out the front, I believe there's a picture of it there when we got there. It's excessive storage, the people are actually sleeping in the backyard because there's no room inside the house to put all the storage, so. Crews kind of took us a little bit of time to get a primary, we got a thorough primary, determined everybody did get out, and went with the statements of the witnesses there. That's kind of the fire for that District 5, or District 3, excuse me. Yesterday was a very busy day for the Wichita Fire Department, I think Councilman Hoheisel can agree to that. He got, yes. We had the WFD 360, or it used to be Ops 101 at the training ground, where we run evolutions, some live truck fire training and whatnot. So we got to show, it's refreshing to see council members and other people taking initiative, and taking interest in what we do on a daily basis. Also, while that was going on, the Wichita Fire Department assisted with the dignified transfer of the fallen law enforcement from Hays, Kansas. We got the report. I'm not even sure when I got the text message saying, hey, you know, the request, can you guys help us out? So we started on that right away. We were able to get the 2 trucks secured, raise the Garrison flag up, so as he left, he got to go underneath the American flag. So take a lot of pride in working with that, with the other agencies and making stuff like that happen. Any questions from you?
Questions from the dad?
You said on South Harry, what the address of that, 2400 block?
On the East Harry?
Yeah.
Yeah, the 2400 block.
Fourplex, that would be,
Fourplex.
east of Oliver.
Yes.
It's not.
Or no, it's this
No,
side,
it's-
this side of all, this side, this 2400
In
block.
Hilltop Manor.
It's right there.
That one was in Schweider, Jerry.
Yeah, I think it's Schweider Park.
It's Harry and Green,
Yeah.
It was
basically.
what?
Harry and Green,
Okay.
basically.
You know, I was on the west side when that came in, so I listened to it, made bills throughout the station. I wasn't out here on the side yet when that came in. So, but yeah, it's right there in the Schweider Park area.
Any questions from the public? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say, that's a stark reminder of what our first responders do. They put their lives on the line every single day. Fire, police, EMS, even public works. We've lost people in public works before as well. So it's just important that we keep that in mind, especially in our interactions with them. Any call could be their last call, and they certainly deserve our respect and support. What's that?
You want to talk about the memorial that's coming up?
Yeah, I got that on my.
Oh, I didn't think, I should have brought that, discuss that, I'll let you discuss that.
Yeah, I got that near the end.
I was telling vision in the past, not the future.
Let's bring up Wichita Police Department.
Good evening, my hometown, the Wichita Police Department, Patrol South, community policing officer for 23.5 feet. I'm mostly coming from Pawnee to Kellogg and from Broadway to I-135. So I'm just gonna give a few updates on part 1 offense, crime, and part 1 violent crime, and then part 1 property crime. Part 1 violent crime consists of a homicide, rape, robbery, aggravated assault. Part 1 violent crime altogether for month-to-month comparison, that's from 9/3/2025 to 8/6/2025. It has decreased by 1% for part 1 violent crime. Part 2 property crime, which consists of burglary, larceny from auto theft. that has gone down -6% on that area for District 3. Things going on here and that's coming up. I don't know if you guys heard about the Operation City Shine. That's gonna be all on Broadway from Pawnee to Kellogg. It's this weekend, this Saturday, they're gonna have it. They ask for volunteer if anybody wanna come join. It's gonna be meeting here at 8:30 behind the Patrol South substation, right around there in the parking lot. And they're gonna go from 8 to 12, clean up all Broadway. So if you guys have any volunteer and wanna come join, just meet over here by 8:30. They will assign, personnel will assign. Wichita Police will also be there to make sure everything's safe. And we will always, we have a certain officer will follow a certain truck and go from there to see how it all goes. I don't know if you guys were here for Sunday. We had open ICT, all Douglas. That was a success. We didn't have any arrests. We didn't have any problems. It was a great deal for everybody that's out there. Let's see what else is going on here. I don't know if you guys heard about the building bridge that's coming up October 7th, 6 to 9 at Watson Park. You know about that? That we are gonna have over there. We're building bridge for it. So if you guys want to come out there, it's from 6 to 9. Connecting the company, it's community and first responder. They have games and raffle and everything out there for the community. So if you guys want to come out there and have a good time with us. October 7th, Watson Park, 6 to 9. Let's see what's up that here. And I think that's it. Any questions for me?
Any questions from the DAB? Online, any questions from DAB members online? All right, any questions from the public? All right, thank you very much, officer.
Thank you.
We have Patrol East updates written. Part 1 violent crime is down 1% since last month. Part 1 violent crime includes everything from homicide, sexual assault, robberies, and aggravated assaults. Compared to last year, crime is down in Part 1 violent crime for 3%. Part 1 property is down a total of 4%. Part 1 property offenses includes burglaries, larcenies, thefts, larcenies to auto, and auto theft. Compared to last year, we are down a total of 8%. There was a homicide in the 900 block of South Vassar documented on case number 25C168693. That case has been solved with a suspect arrested. Patrol East, with the assistance of city crime analysts, to determine the new location for the risk train modeling. Patrol East CP and officers will begin working in that area to reduce the crime of Part 1 offenses and other community safety issues. Patrol East officers currently on FTO are doing well in their training. Hopefully they will all join their prospective shifts soon. Patrol East CP will be assisting with the upcoming Candy Crawl and College Hill Halloween events occurring at the end of the month. All events are open to the public, and in past years, these events have been very big success and a lot of fun for the kids. Patrol East CP officers assisted the Property Crimes Reduction Task Force in addressing retail theft during this week. Updates on the number of arrests and recovered property to be shared at next month's meeting. Questions that I forgot?
Any questions from the public for
Everything
Dr.
down,
Mason?
you said, possible.
And Part 1 crimes, according to
I think we're good. Wichita Public Library.
Hi, everyone. My name is Robin Dasser. I'm the Community Services Librarian from the Walters branch of the Wichita Public Library here in District 3. We have some updates from our the communication specialist. That's what the word I was looking for. And then Walters specific updates after that. October 5th through 11th, so next week is Banned Books Week, and then that's an annual initiative that celebrates the freedom to read and raises awareness of efforts across the nation to ban books. The theme for 2025 is Censorship is So 1984. Playing off George Orwell's novel 1984 serves as a timely reminder that censorship has no place in our society, despite the recent escalation in attempts to ban books in libraries, schools, and bookstores across the country. To rally the community around intellectual freedom and celebrate creative expression, the Wichita Public Library will host various events throughout Banned Books Week, including a kickoff party at the Banned Library on Sunday, October 5th to 4:30, a couple sessions of Banned Books Week themed bingo, and various group discussions on the subject. For more details on the full schedule of Banned Books Week's events, you can visit the library's events calendar at wichitalibrary.org/events. And additionally, the Friends of the Wichita Public Library will be hosting a merchandise sale in honor of Banned Books Week beginning October 1st. Censorship is So 1984 themed bookmarks, bracelets, buttons, stickers, and a voucher for a limited edition library card will be available to purchase for $19.84 at the used bookstore at the Advanced Learning Library and in limited quantities at the branches. During USD 259's fall break, the library's teen advisory board will host a fortnight tournament on Friday, October 17th from 2:30 to 4 at the Advanced Learning Library. Teens can drop in for an epic tournament that will test their skills, connect them with fellow peers while school is out, and provide an opportunity to win fun prizes. That's for grades 6 through 12, and you can register online at wichitalibrary.org/events or call 316-261-8500 to reserve the seat. Also in October, the Advanced Learning Library is going to be hosting Spooky Stories for Grown Up, which is an after-hour storytelling event on Friday, October 24th, from 7 to 9 p.m. This immersive performance includes a diverse group of local performers and actors reading scarily fun stories that will make you want to leave a light on tonight. Hosted by Madam May from Madam May's Frights, the stories presented in this program are intended for adult audiences only and may contain violence, gore, and frightening situations, so discretion is advised. DIY Day returns to the library on Saturday, November 1st from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Advanced Learning Library. And it's an annual hands-on event where local creators, makers, and tinkerers showcase their unique projects and provide interactive opportunities for all ages. A combination of arts, crafts, and technology-based activities will be available to learn new DIY skills throughout the day. And then lastly, for general updates, the meeting room facilities policy at WPL will be changing in January 2026. Organizations and nonprofits engaged in advocacy, civic, charitable, educational, intellectual, or religious activities will be available to reserve for free so long as the group and activities involved support the library's vision and strategic goals to be a community hub for learning and engagement. Meeting rooms will no longer be available to reserve for commercial purposes or private individual use. For more information, you can visit wichitalibrary.org/services/pages/meetingrooms.asps. And then a quick update on things going on at Walters. Family story times continuing every Tuesday morning at 11:30. And then tomorrow, October 2nd, we're going to have a making tape craft entitled I Spy Nighttime from 1 to 5 p.m. And that's for children ages 4 to 11 to create a nighttime scene and then illuminate the details with a pretend flashlight. And then this Saturday, October 4th, we're going to be hosting our monthly board game afternoon from 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. It's an all ages event, so feel free to bring the whole family. Tuesday, October 7th, we'll provide materials, book pages, and Sharpies for you to make blackout photos in honor of from 5:30 to 6:45. And we'll also be having 2 digital skills classes with Next Step Alliance this month. Microsoft Word will be on Wednesday, October 8th from 4:30 to 6:30, and Microsoft Excel will be on Wednesday, October 22nd during the same times. It is a registration event, so you can either register on wichitalibrary.org/events or call 316-261-8500. And last, we will be showing the 1960 version of Little Shop of Horrors on Tuesday, October 21st from 5:30 to 6:45, and free popcorn is provided.
I believe that's Jack Nicholson's first
Yes.
movie.
I believe so.
Yeah, yes, black and white.
Popcorn.
Any questions from Deb?
Do you guys have, sorry, the
Yes.
red sign, the Love Your Library, was that through you guys or was that? something-
Yes, it's through the library. They are sold at the used bookstore at the Advanced Learning Library.
Perfect, thank you.
Have you been having a full house for the spooky readings and all that? There've been a lot of people showing up.
The spooky readings, they've only been, done annually for, I think, 2 years now. And they've been a really good success so far.
Adults and kids, a lot of people.
So the after hour spooky readings have been only for adults because they like have kind of mature content.
Any questions from the public? All right, thank you, Robin.
And one more staff report I have to read to you. Tom's team has started putting together a monthly report. City Hall highlight. Our permanent outdoor watering schedule is official. Year-round lawn watering schedules are in place for Wichita and its wholesale customers. Wichita and surrounding communities have implemented new water conservation measures for outdoor sprinkler irrigation systems to encourage best watering practices and conservation. A 3 days per week watering schedule is now permanently in effect. If drought conditions emerge, additional conservation measures will take effect. Addresses ending in an odd number, 1, 3, 5, 7, or 9, can water on Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Addresses ending in an even number, 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8, can water on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. No outdoor waterings are scheduled for Mondays. Additionally, time restrictions are in place to keep watering happening at the most efficient time of day. There is no watering allowed between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. any day of the week. Variances to the 3-day per week watering schedule can be requested for the establishment of new turf seed and sod and limited special circumstances. Hand watering and other exempt actions do not require a variance request. You can learn more at savewichitawater.com. City of Wichita ID program continues to be a success. As of September 23rd, 1,108 applications have been submitted, and there have been 788 cards printed. Check out how getting an ID has helped a homeless mother and father with an autistic child sustain housing. You can learn more by visiting wichita.gov/Wichita ID. Sorry, Wichita ID. And then there is a link in the posted agenda documents with that success story. Transparency portal. The City of Wichita has created a transparency portal designed to provide you with easy access to a wealth of information, including financial reports, budget documents, contracts, and other relevant data. The page is intended to provide links to information and not place all the data on one page, making it difficult to navigate. Check it out and let us know what you think at social@wichita.gov. We want to know if this tool is useful and if there is information you would like to see posted. The City of Wichita app. Download the City of Wichita app on the App Store or on Google Play today. There you will find direct links to multiple city services as well as report issues around the city. Check out this testimonial from residents Ben Blakely, Sherry Mays, and Tim McQuarrie. You can also report issues at wichita.gov/report. Stay informed. You want updates on what's going on, what's happening at City Hall? Choose from a variety of timely newsletters or alerts. You can also create an account on the city website and sign up for notifications for meetings and events, city council meeting agendas, and more. The website also offers helpful tools, including the Report an Issue app and Find Your Council District tool, snowplow and street sweepers, net trackers, and much more.
Madam Chair, if I may have a point of privilege.
Of course.
I would really encourage everybody to go and check out the success story for the free IDs. Certainly our district has seen more than its fair share of the homeless issues. And we talk about it all the time. There's many different reasons people find themselves on the street, many different avenues that people have to overcome in order to get to housing. This one, it does touch your heart because it does show there are families out there, there are children out there, and some of the things we're doing, they are helping. And every single person that we do help get into housing, get off of the street, those have to be celebrated, and it also has to show just the gaps and the barriers that many people have in the process. So I would fully encourage everybody to go and check out this success story. It's not the same with everybody. We all know there's different issues out there. But with some people, it's lack of medical care, it's lack of affordable housing, it's lack of an ID in many situations. So please go check this out. It warms the heart and it really steady for this, the things that we're doing right now and things we're trying to do. And just seeing the real impact that it does have on people and families and children. So please go check that out.
Thanks, Lynn. I know Rebecca was just reading that, but any questions from the DAB for Rebecca to pass on? Any questions from the public? All right. We will move on to the public agenda. We don't have any scheduled items. Do we have any off agenda items? So this is the time in our agenda where anybody, any member of the public who would like to get up and speak, as long as you're not speaking about an item that's on the agenda. So if you want to talk about one of the zoning issues, that time will come up. But if you have something else not on the agenda that you'd like to come and address the DAB, now is your time. Is there anybody that would like to speak on the off agenda items?
Very detailed.
All right, getting no takers, we're gonna move on. We got a lot of stuff to talk about.
As a quick reminder, we had a lot of folks come in the room as we were starting. If you are a member of the public who hasn't been here before, can you please sign in at either entrance? There's a clipboard or in this case, just a paper. We do have to document who is here tonight and it helps me when I'm taking minutes if you've got a comment.
There's cookies and donuts by that back sign. So all the late stragglers, please help yourselves.
Okay, old business. We've got zoning case 2025-00025.
And just a little background, some of the other council members had some concerns with this one. You guys have heard it before. So I apologize for it coming back, but with some new information, there were people that would like. So.
Thank you, council member. Hi, my name is Christina Reed. I'm with planning staff, and I'm here to present the case number ZON 2025-0025. For this case, the applicant, as you guys may recall, is requesting a zone change from multi-family to limited commercial, 0.17 acres in size, and it's on the east side of South Hillside, within 700 feet northeast Ross Parkway. It's currently undeveloped, and they're looking to do vehicle repair on this site. So this case was originally scheduled to be heard on June 26th. I put the recommendation of the MAPC was to defer the hearing of this case to July 24th. It was, they did recommend approval at the MAPC level. It went to City Council, and the motion of Councilmember Hoheisel was to send it back to the DAB because the applicant was not present at the DAB meeting, as you guys may recall. So they are looking, as I mentioned, they're looking to do vehicle repair on site, which is allowed by right in a limited commercial zoning. So the principal building would be located on the portion of the site that's already zoned limited commercial, and then 8 parking spaces would be on the northern half of the site. So multifamily zoning allows for, well, this particular one, MF 29 zoning allows up to 29 dwelling units per acre. That's why we call it MF 29. Limited commercial allows for residential up to 75 dwelling units per acre, as well as a limited number of commercial uses. Just if you want to know how the development standards are, there's a table in your staff report. Compatibility height setback standards, those are essentially, you know, if you're commercial but you're next to residential, but specifically 2-family or single family residential, you can only build so high and you can only build so close to a property line, so that doesn't apply here. So the vehicle repair limited requires 1 parking space per 333 square feet plus 3 additional parking spaces. So the applicant didn't specify how large this building was going to be, but once they go ahead and get their building permits, they have to confirm that they have enough parking spaces for the site. Just skipping ahead here, because I know you guys have
heard this before. To the north, it's, so north of the Gypsum Creek, it's mostly residential. And then south of the creek, that's where we're seeing more of the commercial properties. There are no other zoning cases associated with this property. The subject site has access to South Hillside Avenue. And when we look at the conformance to plans and policies, the requested zone change is not in conformance with the community investments plan. It actually recommends the subject site as appropriate for parks and open space, not so much commercial uses. And then within the community investments plans, there's a locational guidelines that provide a decision-making framework regarding land use changes. And one of them is to discourage development from occurring in aquifer recharge, flood-prone, high groundwater, wetland, and unsuitable soil area. So this is right adjacent to the Gypsum Creek, as you can see in the map, the little stream that goes through there. And it's not in conformance with the Wichita Places for People plan. The plan outlines six strategies that help guide the community in their actions to create walkable places within Wichita. Strategy 6 aims to encourage infill and redevelopment that is contextual to the environment in which it is occurring. So north of Gypsum Creek, we're seeing a lot of open space. So vehicle repair would not really be contextual to that environment. So staff is recommending denial of the application based on the golden rules that are listed in your staff report. This whole time I have not received any public comment. And I think a big part of that is because when we notify folks, it would be within 200 feet of the site. So we're not really reaching many of the residential properties. Just as a recap, it did go to the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission. They recommended approval. You guys recommended denial a few months ago, went to City Council, and now it's coming back to the DAB. And I do see the applicants here, so they're able to answer any questions that you guys may have about the zone change request. And so you guys have the option to recommend approval or adopt alternative, or sorry, we are recommending denial, and you also have the option to adopt alternative findings and recommend approval for the site. So let's go to the site photos just so we're aware of the context here. And with that, I will stand for any questions.
Questions from the DAB?
The creek, they're gonna do oil changes and all that with the work in the forest.
I will defer to the applicant for the specifics.
I just wanted a clarification. I don't think I was here the last time this came for the DAB, or my memory is getting really bad. Was staff's recommendation the first time around for denial or approval?
The first time around it was for denial.
Okay.
Yep, and the recommendation has not changed.
I see there's already like an established driveway. Is there something there?
It was looking at the aerial maps, I didn't see anything, but maybe I just didn't look back far enough.
I was just wondering, I mean, if there's a reason.
It just fields for a long, long time. It goes right down that creek.
Usually figure out where these are at. It's about halfway between Pawnee and Creek.
I'm sorry, what's on the other side of the creek to the south? What occupies those spaces?
Cool.
Apartments.
Used to be Jordan.
Yeah.
If you're talking about directly across the creek on the south side, it's an apartment building at this point.
Okay, so it is residential, it's not commercial, it's not a car lot or anything like that.
Yeah, it was previously a commercial building that was renovated in the last year and a half and is now residential.
Okay, so this would be, right now, that lot just south, that other triangle, you know, we have the two triangles, right? That are, one is multifamily, correct?
The one that's
That's- And then the green is basically park or residential.
yeah, so the green is zoned multifamily, and that's the one that they're requesting to change to red. And red is commercial, but it also allows for residential, if that makes sense.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from Dab for staff right now? Is it to the public or
To the applicant.
applicant? Okay, that's, okay, well, we'll bring the applicant up.
It's Rahat Nasi. So the red part, so we already have the red part, triangle thing, and then the back one is where we want to have like a big trash can, just in case one of those metal ones or car park. So since this whole, so it's like a little square thingy and it's just divided into triangles. So the first one, as Ms. Christina mentioned, that, it is zoned as, commercial, limited commercial.
Yep.
So, we can actually go ahead and open the mechanic shop here. On the back side, we just wanna go ahead and make it commercial to go ahead and just park cars or put that metal trash can in the back.
So you're still going, the business will still, like be established with or without, I mean,
Exactly,
yeah.
right. Yes, because since we already have that one and we are allowed to do that, so we are planning to open that anyways, but we just wanna make it commercial, so that way that whole square is commercial, so we can go ahead and put, metal can back in park. For just an additional parking rather than just having the few parkings in front.
So you won't actually have like, you won't be working on cars in that area that you're wanting to have
No.
around. It's just for additional parking and trash.
Correct.
And long-term storage of those cars?
No, because usually what we're planning to do is just oil change, like I said, oil change or brakes and just small work, nothing too big. We're not gonna have any like broken cars or junk cars, I guess. You're mentioning those.
Is there a limitation to how long they can keep junk cars, as you said, out there?
So you can't have any, I believe, from a zoning perspective, it's like 30, gosh, I know it's less than like 3 days is what I'm trying to get at. Because if they take a car in on a Friday and it's over a weekend, you know, they're working on it over a weekend, it doesn't necessarily count. But once they have it longer than, you know, a set period of time, and then it'd be the storage of cars, so vehicle storage yard is not a permitted use in either of the properties. And then if it's inoperable, it would be wrecking and salvage, which is only in industrial districts, so.
And
And
we're
it has to
not-
be
yeah.
fenced and no eyesore and all that too.
Yes, it is required to be screened, and they all,
Too, or
yep,
that?
trees as well. And details on that are on, let's see, page 3 of the staff report.
Yeah, I think the bigger question was just, while this may be the use for now, what's the use going to be 20 years from now, 40 years from now? You know, how will it, what's the law of unintended consequences, right?
I think that was our concern before, what's gonna happen to the creek if that doesn't carry it.
Do we know if there's been flooding in that from the creek, like when we had all the big flooding back in June? Was that,
Not to my
Water?
knowledge, have you?
No, my real estate. did
It
not.
goes right to the top of it, it flows heavy. Goes all the way to the Arkansas River, doesn't it?
That I'm not sure.
Yeah, they're back behind Joyland and Big Ditch, and it's, yeah, it gets a lot of water. A lot of,
That property in particular doesn't flood when the
it does on top there, on top, I mean, no, just down below.
creeks.
But my real estate agent did check, she said, so. I'm kind of with the words on that.
Any other questions, Brad, for the applicant? Okay,
I have
oh,
one.
go ahead.
When do you plan on building this business? What's the projected, beginning to end?
Beginning to end. I'm not 100% sure, probably next year sometime, we're looking into it. And hoping to finish it next year as well.
Any questions from the public? Sure.
when it comes to zoning, in industrial area, what type of distance needs to be between residential and business like that? Cause there's some mechanic places that I know of that right across the street, there's like an apartment. Are you doing, you know, the distance?
I can speak to that. So, this is considered so just to clarify, this is considered a commercial use. Vehicle repair is considered a commercial use. When it comes to industrial uses and residential uses, or I should say industrial zoning and residential zoning, there's typically, it depends on the types of uses. So, you could have an industrial use next to an apartment building. We don't see it very often. We try to keep them separate. You know, if there's a zone change request to industrial into a residential neighborhood, we typically advise against it, just because of the possible uses of the site, if I'm making sense.
The noise and all that.
Yes, and there are noise compatibility standards for this site as well, not just for for the current red site or current commercial site, and then should the zone change request be approved, there are noise standards.
But the request is for light commercial, right? Not light industrial. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any
So-
other questions from the public? Okay, John, you're good. Oh, John, do you have another question?
Nope, I'm good. Thanks.
Okay, bringing it back to Dab for discussion.
They're already gonna build this property anyways, this business, and the additional space, yes, it's in green space, but they're not using it for anything other than parking and trash, which is really important. If they don't have enough room for that, then what's gonna happen to the property that's already gonna be built anyways? I know like there's concern about waste going into the creek, but they're already gonna build this business there, so it's gonna be there no matter what. I think it would probably help their business if they were able to have a place for trash and secure parking for vehicles that they're working on. I'm in favor of it.
My thinking was along the same lines. I remember when this came up last time, you know, it creates a unified zone for those two lots that, you know, provides for a better business model for now, and potentially if we've got the apartments to the south, you know, 30 40 years from now, somebody could buy those two lots and put up another apartment building there. So, you know, I think having those two lots, since those are the only two zoned lots north of the creek, it makes sense that those two should be zoned the same.
So we've got a motion from Vanessa, and then Mike, did I hear you second? Okay. All those in favor?
Can I get clarification? The motion would be to approve the request that instead of the recommended by the staff, correct?
Correct.
Is there any addendum to that, or is it just a flat?
Mine was just flat to
Okay.
approve.
Then I'm clear. Just making sure.
Okay. We'll do that again. All those that are in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Two opposed? All right. That carries. Thank you very much. Okay, this one is PUB 2025-00017.
Thank you. The applicant for this case is requesting a zone change from B multifamily and general commercial to planned unit development to create the 944 South Topeka planned unit development, or in our records, PUD number 149. So it's a little bit over an acre in size, and it's on the corner, it's on the, let's see, the northeast corner of Topeka and Gilbert, if I'm not mistaken. Could you scroll down just a tad? I just want to make sure. It's Gilbert. Yes, I got that right. Okay. So it's currently developed with the church in the parking lot. There is an alley to separate the two properties that was recently vacated. So then they'll be able to unify this into one unit or one planned unit development. So on August 28th, the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission reviewed this case and voted to defer it until September 25th. And then, so at the September 25th meeting, the MAPC recommended approval of this application. You'll see that here that there was 5 members of the public who spoke at the August 28th meeting with concerns about having storage containers as dwelling units and parking in the nearby streets, and I'll be able to speak upon that later in this report. So the zone change request, according to the applicant, is in order to bring the non-conforming church building into compliance and allowing a certain level of flexibility within the site development and then future development as well. So I just want to make clear that as it stands now, the church is zoned multifamily. The intent of the applicant is to turn this into multifamily housing that is permitted by right on site. And then they're looking to do housing made of shipping containers that is permitted in the GC zoning where on the right half of the side, or the east half, I should say. So the site will, so the proposed site will consist of 2 parcels. The church was constructed in 1901, at least the older part of the church was constructed in 1901. And it was built with a 5-foot setback from the property line, which makes it a legal non-conforming structure. So this will allow the existing church to come into compliance by putting the setbacks in the current placement of the building. And then parcel 2 is proposed to be developed with multi-family units constructed out of shipping containers and existing surface park. So the portable shipping containers may be used on parcel 2 as long as the building material is for residential purposes. And then in discussions with the applicant, they want the exterior of each structure to be painted a uniform color. Each structure may have an exterior color unique from the other residential structures on site. Earth tone, colors, limited to the area illustrated on the PUD drawing, and then a 6-foot solid screen fence along shared property lines with 939 South Concordia. So, and I will let the applicant elaborate on this a little bit, but during the MAPC meeting, they indicated that they're amenable to using shiplap or similar siding for the shipping containers. So after the MAPC deferred the case to September 25th, the applicant's agent provided additional language to incorporate the above provisions that I just mentioned. So the interior side setback, so the distance between your property line and where you can build is proposed to be 0 feet. And parking will be shared between all parcels with a minimum of 13 parking spaces. Screening and landscaping will be in accordance with the Wichita Landscape Code and Unified Zoning Code. So that means that landscape street yards would be required on South Topeka, East Gilbert, and South Emporia. Skipping ahead here, the character of the neighborhood is mostly residential in nature. So in 1876, the subject site was platted. So this the church property that you see, the one that's entirely outlined in blue on the west half here, this is listed on the Register of Historic Kansas Places in the National Register of Historic Places. I am the Historic Preservation Planner, so this went to the Historic Preservation Board on September 8th. And the reason that we were hearing the case is because there's this law called State Preservation Law, where every rezoning or any building permit application to an historic building has to be reviewed by the Historic Preservation Board. However, it was following the MAPC deferral, the HPB decided to follow suit. So that's going to be heard on October 13th. You guys are welcome to come. It's open to the public. Just a little plug there. So just a little caveat. So should the Historic Preservation Board recommend denial of the zone change request, the zone change request cannot proceed. So even if the MAPC and the DAB have their own recommendations, the zone change request cannot proceed unless the applicant appeals to city council and city council determines that there are no feasible or prudent alternatives to the zone change request. So,
Which got pretty official.
yeah, so, you have the MAPC and the DAB, and they make their recommendations. The Historic Preservation Board has their own recommendation. So normally, city council would just look at MAPC and DAB, but they have a third one to take into consideration, that's HPB. So if they recommend denial of the zone change request, city council has to, well, the applicant would have to appeal
That's the
first.
way all three.
Yep, and then city council would hear the appeal and in order for the zone change request to proceed, they would have to determine there are no feasible or prudent alternatives to the zone change request. Yeah. So. The requested zone change was in conformance with the community investments plans. The Wichita Future Growth Concept Map identifies the area to be appropriate for community residential uses. And then when we look at the community investment plans, land use compatibility guidelines, one of the guidelines states to encourage infill and infill development that maximizes public investment in existing and planned infrastructure and services. And also, higher intensity development should be discouraged from locating areas of existing lower intensity development, particularly low density residential areas. So the proposed PUD is within an area of town that is appropriately zoned for multi-family development, and there's several duplexes within the immediate vicinity. The proposed PUD is in conformance with the Places for People plan. As I mentioned in the last report, that there's like several strategies. So strategy 5 is to encourage a diversity of housing options to attract new residents and allow existing residents to remain in the established central area. And it's in partial conformance with the South Central Neighborhood Plan. So the plan recommends the site as appropriate for institutional uses. There will be schools, nonprofits, churches, museums, and government facilities. And then one of the locational guidelines within the South Central Neighborhood Plan is the preservation of historic resources, including adaptive reuse. And then the most desirable land uses for this neighborhood include residential, parks and open space, institutional uses, etc. So staff is recommending approval of the PUD request, subject to the conditions that are listed in your staff report, and those are based on the golden rules. So at the time of the publication of the staff report, one member of the public had questions about the request, and then during the MAPC meeting, as I mentioned earlier, there were about 5 speakers at least the most recent meeting. So just a little bit of update on this. So like as a historic preservation planner, I get excited for this. So there were concerns about, trash in the area, just lack of maintenance, upkeep. Last year earlier this year, they were approved for a facade improvement program loan, and that has to be used within a certain timeline. So I believe that this development is going to be fast tracked, or it's going to be coming soon. So let's go to some of the site photos, please. Thank you. And with that, I will stand for any questions.
Is the church currently, does it have any residents, or is it currently vacant?
I believe it's currently vacant.
How many parking spaces were they adding?
36.
36. They're adding 57 units, but only 36 more parking spaces. And if you have 2 people in half of those units, you're looking at 75 people, most of them with their own cars. That's 75 more cars, which means there's going to be another 20 cars parking on what are already fairly narrow streets. I have some concerns with that, but that's just me.
Are there departures from parking standards involved with this PUD?
Yes, so normally for multifamily zoning, within multifamily developments, it's for every studio and 1-bedroom apartment, the zoning code requires 1.25 parking spaces. And that's assuming that there's multiple, it's not 1.25, it's like a golf cart or something. And then for 2-bedroom units or larger, the zoning code requires 1.75 parking spaces.
Is it considered affordable housing?
I will defer to the applicant for that information.
Mike, can you repeat your question?
Is it affordable housing?
Any other questions for staff from the DAB? Okay, and we have the applicant here today? Okay.
For Keaton Moore Engineering, I'm the agent. Right now, the place we're proposing to put the launch container units is currently zone GC, which is allowed in that area right now. We have committed to doing the shiplap siding that Christine talked about on these, and there are pictures, I think, in the slideshow here, of what it look like. So it doesn't look like the storage containers like we see at job sites and that type of stuff. It's got a siding on it where it looks like a real residential structure. We are requesting, we're considering fewer parking spaces for what we have, and that's because of the use that's gonna be there. And Freddie here can discuss the uses, and I'll let him go ahead and talk about it and answer any questions.
Thank you. My name is Freddie Hood. I work with the WSU Tech. I'm also a community advocate of a number of organizations. I'm available. I've got cards off to the side. Anybody wants to get over me at any point in time, let me lead with any better ideas. I'm absolutely all for hearing. As I talk with anybody that's got any additional meetings that they'd like to have. We plan on possibly scheduling some on-site tours, discussing the project. So the proposed use for the property identified on our last 3 state of the city reports and some state-based reports for low-level, low-hanging fruit for community engagement. One is identified as why aging out of foster care. Our intention is that living, I think, roughly 37% city of Wichita do not have any support, so they're immediately going to come in house. This will be low-income housing, or we'll say Section 8. While that is the minimum standard, like, these are nice. They're really nice apartments, and we actually have some 3-dimensional renderings that are again available at any subsequent to those. The intent would be to allow these guys to use their FYI, which is a foster youth independence grant similar to a Section 8. Too many people right now, with roughly those 37% that are transitioning homelessness, don't even know what a FYI voucher is, but if you have to apply within 6 months of aging out, it can carry you for up to 5 years of having that like Section 8-ish, so to speak, from the state. We would love to make this community, so being clear is low-income housing for that specific demographic that will be, we say, our intentional neighbors. Roughly 25% of the residents will be people that have committed to living here. A lot of these people work for like Youth Horizons. We've got a couple of missionaries, things like that. They want to live in the community, make sure that they're supportive, make sure that they're, really those anchors within that community. Outside of this, we've got roughly 52 people. We host every last Tuesday of the month a meeting or a consortium of all the people that right now are stakeholders within the community that focus on servicing youth that age out. So every community organization that you can think of that is involved, we pull them together and we try to really assess, number one, what are the residential opportunities are there? In Dolly Center, we've got Youth Horizons. We've got some new stuff with Ember Hope. Additionally, there's a program with Wichita Children's Home. In this region, we don't have any residential solutions for youth that have aged out of the foster care system. And again, it's not technically youth. These guys are grown-ups that are really looking for an opportunity. Frequently, when you're looking for an apartment right after you've got out of the system, you don't have rent history, you don't really have a co-signer, you don't have credit, you don't have the things that normally we consider to be standardized. But so we've got this consortium of programming that's available, but the problem is access. So oftentimes you'll get out of the foster care system and then you're trying to navigate, how do I apply a voucher? If you actually find the place, you're kind of out here in whatever place you were able to find a residence, maybe not the best location in town. Not that this is the most amazing, but we're gonna change that. We are, at the end of the day, talking about a multi-million-dollar investment in this community. And we're pooling all these resources. So what we're gonna do, we'll have a program manager on site. What they're here to do is really help you navigate those spaces. This is a full-time entity that'll be there. And we'll have a community office. So I know we don't really have the picture up of the church, but you have the church, then there's like a community area that's full of offices. We'll have several of these community entities, including, hopefully, maybe we'll be able to host a couple of these up there, some of the office space, and also a couple of the conference areas that are going to be shared spaces used by all of the respective partners. And so the programming will be available. And again, it's really just bringing together a location where you've got some, let's say, congregate living, where these people can at least access. It's not a program, you're not forced to participate in anything, but we don't have a location that you can go and identify all of the various agencies that care about you being successful in a single place. So whether that's location, economic mobility, I'm personally over, a lot of our engagement with youth aging out when it comes to enrolling in WSU Tech, finding a location, finding a job. I'll make sure that, hey, hold me personally responsible to find every person that lives here a job and a pathway to getting a technical education if they want one. But before I go on, we're really excited about it. We've got some really strong partners. They've got histories in both modifying businesses downtown or buildings, transitioning them into residential facilities. We've got, from a development side and construction side, a lot of robust experience there. We all are landlords. We have properties. We've successfully navigated every district in Wichita, successfully being, good stewards of awesome people. Questions?
Start with the Deb.
I have a couple.
Yes, sir.
One, if zoning already allows you to put containers there, why haven't you done it? Why do you need a PUD? And two, if you're already allowed to put apartments in the church building, why do you need the PUD for that? If you already have the ability to do what you want, why is the PUD required? Is this, that's the basic question.
Sure, a lot of the reason for the PUD has to do with parking. These people that be living here, like you said, they're coming out of foster. Pardon me?
You speak up to
Okay. A lot of the reason for the PUD has to do with the parking. The people that be living here are coming out of foster care, they're not gonna have cars. But, we're at this spot, we're about a block away from like 3 different bus routes. So there are ways to get around, and a lot of these people will probably use bus, public transportation, walking, bikes, that type of thing. Fairly close to downtown, where if they're working downtown, they get there pretty easy. That's really kind of one of the main reasons for the PUD.
Okay, so you're looking to dump potentially 50 people with 36 parking spots in the middle of a neighborhood and basically have not a halfway house because it's a post. So community center in the middle of a residential neighborhood with no parking for people. So where are the people who you're saying all these services are going to be provided for those people, right? So you're talking about all these groups in that building working there. Where are they going to park? So you have 36 parking spots for the residents. Which
We have
will be
36 parking spots total.
right. So 36 parking spots total, 57 apartments. So that's 57 residents, plus how many people are going to be working there providing services for these people? Where are they going to park? And I ask this because I live a block away. How many people are going to be parking and walking and plugging in an already clogged neighborhood because we don't have off-street parking? That's my question. You're bringing in all these services and all these people. Where are they going to park? That's I'm not even getting into the fact that dropping containers that you're rendering that you see up there on the screen.
No, that is what it's gonna look like. We're committing to that.
You're committing to that now because a week ago you did not commit to
No, we
that.
did commit to that at the planning commission meeting also.
Okay, so I'm just asking, where do you expect people to park?
we expect to have a lot of residences that will not have vehicles because they have nothing coming out of their foster care.
So 50 some odd people you're gonna expect never to buy a car.
Right now in my program, so I service about 33 youth that have aged out of foster care, and I've got 5 of them with vehicles, right now, and that's ranging ages from 17 to 23. And I would say we're about an average of maybe 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 7 might have a vehicle. We supplement that with some services. We work with some community partners, and again, if we want to have a conversation later time, I can tell you about who partner and does what, but we provide like Ubers, depending upon whether you're going to work or school. Really, a lot of these people are just trying to get their lives together and structure that. They might not stay for 5 years, right? Maybe it's 1 year, 2 year, but we're trying to help them to align with technical education when applicable, right? Make sure that you're engaging within the services necessary, make sure you have a rewarding job. And when you get that car, you know, and you're ready for that next step, we're gonna be a place where you can transition through us successfully, navigate all these things, find out all these resources available for you. And then you're gonna go live in the house that we also coordinate with a partner that helps people do rent to own for some of the low income housing with another organization.
Why don't begrudge the program? I just
So that's
question how you're gonna park people. I mean, and PUD transfers ownership. If 5 years from now your program has no funding and you sell the property, whoever buys it's gonna want people to park for their 50 people. So I just don't see how long-term that this makes sense for the area on many levels.
be here, I think I'm a personal guarantee on the project, and it's gonna be like a 30-year mortgage. I'm not going anywhere for sure for what it's worth.
I have to agree on the parking issue. I'm sorry. Because yes, these people may not have cars, but their friends have cars, their family members who come to visit have cars, their you know, it will be more cars than the 5 out of 33. So that's a big stumble on this. I love the idea of the program. You know, my best friend came out of the foster system, and you know, there are a lot of challenges when you're coming off of the foster system. So I highly encourage you to pursue it, but I think there needs to be something on the parking.
To alleviate that concern a little bit, anyways, there's pretty steep restrictions on visitation and things to that effect. It's all part of the housing, like we're giving you a place to live, but we don't have a lot of visitation. It's not like it's a normal apartment. It's a thing that it's a very controlled atmosphere where you've only got the right people in that community. No. Happy, bright, clean, safe. Yes.
You do know the Wichita Police Department classifies that as a red zone, right? That whole South Broadway corridor. They're really looking at that pretty close. Lots of issues. And we're my neighborhood as well. South Broadway, lots of issues.
We plan on hosting them. They will have an office within the community center in addition to having an option where we would be providing for TVRI, I think is the 4-letter acronym of trauma-informed training for people that deal with people in the foster care and post-foster care system. So we plan on facilitating that training for other community organizations in addition to.
As Tim can tell you, there will be issues. People are down there it's a good spot, which is
So
being delicate.
we actively intend to do everything we can to mitigate the concern. I understand we easily could go to North, you could go to Mays, you know, we could easily go to Andover, but this is the place that probably needs us the most. We really want to serve that community. Myself.
I like the concepts. I don't like the modular home concept. I like what you guys do and the services, because foster children that are aging out, there is a huge need for that. And having an organization that helps them is absolutely wonderful. They need those resources. I spent about a day and a half walking the neighborhood, talking to people that live in the neighborhood, and I had, Spanish translator with me as well. I do speak Spanish as well. Main concern that they had is they don't want that in the neighborhood. The parking is a concern. showing them what the model would look like. It doesn't fit the neighborhood and they're worried about their property values. So there is that concern in the neighborhood. With the church, you're gonna turn those into apartments, correct?
Not the church.
Okay, so the church is gonna be like your community service area, or what exactly are you doing with the church?
Just a large portion of the church will be for community service engagement, presentations, things to that effect. Potentially like within these guys, because sometimes we want to bring several members together, 7, 8, and it just makes more sense that we've got a place to host those meetings.
Right.
Don't intend to demo the church.
And so the building next to it, what's that gonna be used for then? Is that also
The
gonna be a
school?
part? Yeah.
The school's 35 apartments.
Apartments and things like the gymnasium, or exercise room, cafeteria type things, stuff like that.
So could that, I mean, I know it's not as grand scale as what you're planning, but instead of putting these modular homes in there, could you not, and the parking would accommodate if you have that many apartment spaces in that building? I mean, it's kind of.
It was a phased project. It was based off of a successful model out of Dallas, and they had, I think, 4 different designs for, they call them tiny homes. There's
Right.
several popping up here in town. There's a number of modular homes. So
Mhm.
one of the programs, we have a structure program. I can tell you that I'm not an engineer, but thoroughly evaluated about 122 different versions of what housing options would look like. We do have in Wichita a container housing solutions, I think, put in back in 2000 something. So we wanted to make sure that these would be successful and be able to weather the wind. But we're not talking about, a container home that you'd see on a train, but we're talking about an option that, and I promise you, they're really, really nice. And we've got
I've seen them before, they're very cool.
one of the most.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've seen the tiny homes and, this type of model that you're presenting, and they are really cool. They don't fit the neighborhood, and that's been a concern of the residents in the neighborhood that I talked to. And so I was just curious, could you maybe just start with, just doing those 36 apartments and seeing how this works and see how the neighborhood receives it, instead of adding the modular homes as well? Plus, you wouldn't have an issue with your parking, and, you could kind of see how things go. Yeah, that's kind of an idea.
So as part of the holistic project, just because we had phase 1 where we had to show success as part of a funding model, we actually need to have the 20, it's roughly 21 container units outside, and it's houses. So it was part of the deal. And that's to show that we can successfully create this program, successfully make sure that as we're doing construction, because that's such a long model, the church construction itself is roughly a 2-year project. We want to immediately activate the community space, immediately do shared laundry in the basement, and immediately be able to start serving, because right now we need the solutions for the youth transition. Now we've actually got 7 candidates that will transition roughly in January. If we do these houses, that's something we can put in, have that 60 to 90 day model. And what I'd love to do is sit down, anybody that has like an idea of how we can better cater these, maybe to conform with the permission of our architect to the neighborhood standards. Like I can tell you right now, we got like immediately I don't know, I don't want to throw out a bad number, maybe 13 houses that are boarded up, right? And I promise you there's tents out there, right? So when we're not conforming to like what the aesthetic of the neighborhood is now, I don't want to.
Yeah, the neighborhood, I mean, it is kind of rough, that is true, but there are residents there that have really taken care of their properties. You can't help the vacant ones, I mean.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you, it's nothing personal, I assure you. I think what you're trying to do is very admirable. I'm just going off of the residents that I spoke to. And that's some of the big concerns that they had.
I think looking outside the box a little bit here, there are, in the pictures, there is that boarded up house across the street. And I was wondering, maybe would it be possible for you to acquire that property and put a couple of tiny houses there and free up parking space, or either use that as parking space or free up more parking space on the main campus? Just a thought, for what it's worth.
We have had conversations about things like that, where if there's a boarded up house across the street, if that could be purchased, if we need the parking, and then put additional parking on that.
I had a question on the parking issue. Presumably, I mean, you guys have spent time on this project, a lot of time in the neighborhood. I mean, is there like heavy usage of street parking right now? Are there a lot of cars on the street in that area?
My understanding is we're not allowed to talk about it. I think like in front, I don't, every time I park there, I've never actually had another car that was parked in front of the church. But I know as so far as permitting and all that, we can consider street parking, but somebody mentioned maybe it was a thin street like that. Topeka's actually, I think, pretty wide. You get parking on both sides of the street, I think so.
Topeka's one way, parking on both sides in a bike lane. Yeah, but most of the houses on Topeka do not have off-street parking. And John, that boarded up house you were looking at on Gilbert across the street is actually purchased and in the process of being renovated, just so you're aware.
All right, well, I thought maybe that might be an answer, but guess not.
Bicycle path go right through there too. Is there a bicycle lane there too?
Bike
They can't
lane
park there at all?
on Topeka, yes.
And Mrs. Vanessa, for what it's worth, if there's any way to do so, I'd love to collaborate with the neighbors and make sure that they've got buy-in. I'd love to work with them. Like, I don't wanna like have any friction. It's just, I haven't really had an opportunity.
I just say, definitely go talk to them in the neighborhood.
Okay.
Bring translator with you, you'll need some. But it would be beneficial for you because there's a lot of, a lot of comment out there, and I don't know.
Can iron the differentials out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the overall aspect of this to me. I'm sorry.
You keep interrupting when other people are trying to ask a question. I don't know how to clarify it.
I'm sorry, I can't hear everybody.
You've been good, but you're talking over people that are sitting here trying to ask a question.
I'll start using my raise my hand icon.
There's a delay, but Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, I've got a simple question for a simple mind. When we look at these three buildings setting together, how many families will be living in there when they're fully rented?
So it'll just be one individual per.
Speak up, please.
I'm sorry, one individual per apartment.
Well, what's an apartment? Are they side by side, upstairs, downstairs? How many apartments are in there?
Just one per container, so that one will have one on the top and one on the bottom. One bedroom on the top and one bedroom on the bottom.
Well, there'd be 6 families in there.
No, the largest container is 8 by 40, so 320 feet. That's the living space, 320 feet, some of them are a little bit short. So you're not gonna be putting big families in them.
I'm sorry, I don't get your point.
My point is you only have 320 feet.
How many square feet is it?
320,
That's the apartment size.
yes,
So one would be comfortable, 2 might be crowded,
yes, exactly.
and you're gonna build enough to have 57 tenants?
We have, I believe, 21 of the containers, and then the rest of them would be inside the school building.
Okay. Thank you. Has everybody read the comments?
John, you got your question?
Yeah, sorry, my battery on my computer's about to die, so I'm trying to find my power. I just wanted to say, I think overall, the intent of this project is very positive. I think it would be probably ultimately good for the neighborhood, in spite of the parking issues. I see a bigger upside than downside on this, but that's, I don't live in the neighborhood directly, so take that for what it is.
Transition to your public comments.
Yes. Do we have any questions, comments from the public?
I have comments. How long do I have?
You get 5 minutes as a member of the public. Please state your name before you start speaking so I can capture. Okay.
Amy Liker. I live at 1002 South Broadway. I also own property at 1003 South Topeka and 1007 South Topeka. I'm here on behalf of residents of the neighborhood who are in opposition to this request. The bottom line here is that the applicant wants to reduce the number of parking spaces so they can pack shipping container apartments onto the property. Affordable housing projects, while good, should not have parking requirements reduced simply as a means to pack more apartments into a finite space, especially if such a reduction would strain existing resources. The applicant wants to provide only 36 parking spaces, as you've heard, to accommodate tenants of 57 apartments, even though the parking schedule and zoning code says they should be providing twice of that number at a minimum, just for the housing piece of their project alone. If they have a church in the existing building, which was mentioned in one of their proposed uses, and as you heard the applicant here today mention offices and other things, the parking schedule says for a church, they would need 1 additional space for every 4 seats. The parking schedule goes into what's required for other uses. I don't have that in front of me, but Christina could probably speak to that. Our neighborhood is one of the oldest in the city. Many of the existing houses here were built in an era before regular people had cars, so off-street parking wasn't part of the building plan. All of the people who live in those houses now have to park on the street. There are also a number of houses that have been split into apartments over the years that don't have to provide off-street parking because they're grandfathered in. So those people are all parking on the streets too. We also have several houses with little or no parking that are currently for sale or currently under renovation. So we expect that there will even be less on-street parking available once all of those houses are full. If this applicant gets to rely on street parking to accommodate their tenants and churchgoers and all of the other people they're expecting to be there, it's going to clog our streets and put additional pressure on a neighborhood that's already dealing with a whole lot of stressful situations, including things like crime, drug dealing, prostitution, inattentive property owners, and bad landlords. The applicant is arguing that they shouldn't have to provide the required number of parking spots because they think their prospective tenants won't have cars and can rely on bikes and public transportation to get around. But it's reasonable and rational to expect that able-bodied, working and school-aged young adults will either come with vehicles or obtain them during their tenancy. Transit in the city does not run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and walking or riding a bike in snow, ice, extreme heat, or storms isn't safe or feasible. In terms of the shipping container apartments, residents just don't want them there. They look terrible and they're basically tin box tiny homes. These are going to be 320 square feet each. And you need to be aware, regardless of what the applicant said here today, they told the Planning Commission last Thursday, I was at that meeting, that the mock-ups that you're seeing here in your agenda packet are, they're not committing to those drawings specifically as what they're planning to do with the apartments. These are only ideas. That is what they told the Planning Commission. And I'll point out again that our neighborhood is one of the oldest in the city. Several of the properties here are historic, including my house. The entire neighborhood is filled with traditional housing styles. So we residents find it incredibly offensive that a developer wants to come in and drop what's tantamount to a mobile home park in the middle of our neighborhood. The church building itself, as you've heard, is on the state and national historic registries. Some of the nearby homes are too. We actually have a little historic district just down the street on Topeka, and we feel like we don't deserve that style of housing here. And I'll just close by saying that this applicant has allowed this property to become a nuisance in our neighborhood as it is. I have personally reported this property to MABCD, the city and police, dozens of times since March 2024 for things like illegal dumping, break-ins, unsecured doors and windows, overgrown vegetation, squatting, drug use, drug dealing, prostitution, arson fires, homeless camps, vandalism, and a whole host of other illegal activity. Residents have very real concerns for the safety of these kids that they want to put out in the middle of a parking lot in tiny shipping container homes. Can you imagine being 18 or 19 years old, living in a 300 square foot shipping container in a parking lot and someone trying to break in? That will happen. When we moved into our home, it was formerly a sober living facility. It has taken nearly 2 years and our entire property being fenced in and every single gate that we have padlocked to completely prevent access to our property, and all of our exterior doors being bolted at all times to prevent people from trying to get into our house. And I will also point out that prostitution is a horrible problem in this area. We have a number of residents who are working to combat all of these sorts of issues. It is slow going with the city. We are trying, but my 20-year-old daughter cannot even take a walk around the neighborhood with her boyfriend without getting catcalled or solicited for sex. My partner has been solicited for sex in front of our house. And so I cannot imagine that these kids walking to the bus stop out on Broadway would not be dealing with being mistaken for a prostitute potentially and being solicited and or offered drugs. So again, neighbors have very real concerns. They are wide ranging and we are absolutely asking for you to recommend denial on this. Thank you.
Any other members of the public that wanted to make comments?
I'm assuming from her comment, the current apartment building or school is unoccupied at the moment. And the church, are there people attending the church?
No.
So these buildings are currently unoccupied. One of the fire reports from early on was a building that completely got destroyed because it was unoccupied and burned. I live in a neighborhood that's full of unoccupied homes and businesses. And I think that I personally think that having two unoccupied buildings of that size is a huge detriment to a neighborhood.
Any other members of the public that are here that would like to make a comment? Okay, I'm gonna bring it back to Deb, for people to discuss amongst themselves. Who wants to kick it off?
I mean, for me, to jot it down, I think it's definitely the concept itself is very different. So that alone brings I don't know if intimidation is the right word, but because even for me, tiny homes, containers, I've not ever seen them in person, just on TV. The design is very modern. It is very cool. I like the idea. When I think about it as change is it's scary, when you have change. The mindset that it's not meant for long-term, but we can't guarantee that. But I mean, if it is meant with the idea of maybe 1 to 2 years that you get yourself in a position that you can then move to what you would consider individual, maybe your long-term, forever home, something better. That idea I really like. And I think if the neighborhood saw that, that's absolutely a positive and can come together and help and look out for each other. And it won't happen overnight, but in a positive way, I like that concept. I see a lot of potential in that way. But the reality is what is happening. Yeah, it is going to be very rough in that transition because the safety of walking to the bus stop. I mean, you're on your own. You don't know anybody. So that I can understand from that community in the neighborhood. Some initial resistance. I like the idea when I think of it long term, but I definitely don't want to turn a blind eye for the immediate concerns that will occur potentially, especially because you can't control if they are there long term or not. It's not just meant for that. It's anybody with low income. I don't know if I can ask directly, but so yeah, that's where my mind is at for where I like it though.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of echo what you're saying and what John said earlier. I think there's kind of an inherent tension that's been discussed tonight between the fact that obviously these large vacant spaces tend to make bad situations worse. And I am very sympathetic to, the fact that these properties have had certain ownership for a while and are having these issues, but obviously, nobody can be on a vacant property at all times, and certain funding is tied to certain parts of this project. And I recognize that as well. I also recognize that everybody loves these ideas of these projects in theory, but just not in reality. And at some point in time, we are picking between creating more housing that is available to our most vulnerable people, in an actual, organized, thoughtful process here. And I don't know, I mean, I recognize and understand concerns about parking and safety, but also, maybe having some folks move into the area, especially with the idea of services that are available,
having an office for a police officer, you know, that certainly can bring its own benefits to the neighborhood as well. This is tough. You know, a lot of the things obviously are workable here. Things like setbacks and things like that can be in conformance. The big issue is parking. For me personally, I just don't know that parking is enough of a worthwhile cause to, you know, prevent something like this from really ever being able to be developed, especially when I think it could be a benefit to the neighborhood that's obviously suffering from a lot of problems that come from lack of people and neglect.
Can I just say that this property's been owned by these people for a couple of years now. And until we started pushing the issue, there's been a lack of nothing. They started a project almost 2 years ago with apartments. They started cutting the building and then left it. So it left unattended, unmonitored, unwashed. I have their phone number and call them with problems and they don't respond. This building has stained glass that's been destroyed. Almost 50% of what put it on the National Registry is gone. So because of lack of neglect. So they want to drop a new project into an area, there's already an existing old project that they did not care enough to even maintain. They just let it degrade. And now they're saying 2 years to redo the church. We've already had 2 years. They couldn't keep boards on it. They finally put up a fence because they've had so many issues with damage. They're bringing into conformance, but as you can be told that if the building's damaged, they can apply for a variance and still build it. So bringing the church into conformance is not a necessity to repair or replace. This all boils down to getting an exception so they can do what they want in a neighborhood that's predominantly too poor to argue their case. So this is in my opinion, a group coming in saying, I want to do this, and I haven't asked anybody. We have each other's phone number, never been asked. They've not reached out to any of the neighbors until this happened. They met resistance. They've talked to other groups, but not the actual people that live within sight of the building. So is parking an issue? Yes, parking's an issue. We already are clogged with parking. To add possibility of 57 more cars, minus 30, so another cars on the street. There's not even enough street property around this property to park that 20 cars. I went out. So yes, it will put a burden on everybody. Is the project admirable? Yes. Is it something that would be great to have for the city? Yes. Is this the correct place to put it? I don't think it is.
Any other comment from Dab?
Why this particular area to look at?
We're not in questions anymore. You guys are just in the board right now.
Anybody have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we deny the request.
Second.
Okay, my move to deny the request. I'm gonna give it to Tim since he lives in the neighborhood and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
In favor of denial, correct?
In favor of denial.
I need hands up for this one. Favor of denial. For my two online, are you voting? No?
I'll vote to deny it right now.
And all of those opposed to the denial.
I will go with opposed to the denial, but I really would love to recommend that there be some neighborhood meetings with the the ownership and leadership to see if we can't come to a better compromise.
Right, vote to deny the zone changer. The PUD is 5-5. There are 10.
Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Make do it again.
What happened?
Get a tie.
All right, 5-5.
Can I break in? Can I break in for just a minute? I think maybe I was misunderstood. I'm not sure. So right now I want to deny the project.
That's right, that's where your vote was recorded, right?
Okay, thank you.
I mean, it's gonna be the same either way. I guess that's no recommendation from now.
How do we get 5-5 when there's only 8 of us here?
There's 2 online.
Online.
I'm Rick online, so
No worries. I got the numbers. You're good. 5-5 is where we're sitting. Okay. So
But are we,
you are good to move on unless you all or your council member feels a strong need to reopen the vote and get to a consensus.
It's your guys' district advisory board.
I am totally open to further comment, but I almost feel like that's a pretty good representation of how the dev feels about this, and it's a very close call.
So what is the next step on this then?
So the ultimate, or the final decision goes to city council.
So.
After
That's a
it-
good opportunity.
reservation.
Yeah, I was like, we still have the historic preservation board will weigh in as well.
So that's a good opportunity for all the residents in the area who feel so strongly about it, then they should show up and.
No. There is not a public hearing
Oh,
at
there's
the
not.
city council meeting.
Oh, okay.
So,
Historic preservation board is a public hearing though, but we comment strictly on the architectural and
Right.
aesthetics of the site, so.
So realistically, they wouldn't be able,
Mm.
a lot of people that I talk to, you know, there are language barriers, so they're not gonna show up to these things, you know? So I just took a lot of people by surprise. They were kind of reluctant to talk to me at first, you know, like, who are you? Why are you at my door? What are we talking about? You know, I think it's important to take into account what a lot of the actual neighborhood and people that live there really want. I mean, I love the project idea. I truly do. I think the services are great, but the neighborhood is saying they don't want it there. And if you don't have the support of the neighborhood, how is this gonna be successful?
But I'd make the argument that anytime you try and put something like this in a neighborhood, the neighborhood doesn't want it. The same could be said for the school that was turned into the shelter. I'm sure we actually looked at buying the house that's just to the north of it. And yes, we had the conversation, and yes, we said we dodged a bullet by not buying it. I guess I'm just in the side of, I'd like to see something done over not, and I do believe in the program. I wish that there was another opportunity to use maybe a different site that was better, but that's not on the board right now, so that's why I voted the way I voted.
Just doing progress for the sake of progress is not the right choice.
But they're also putting apartments in an existing building already.
If that was the project, the neighbors 2 years ago were behind that. The minute they shifted to putting containers that didn't match the neighborhood and removing the parking. If they stuck strictly to the building and used their parking for parking, you meet all the requirements and they wouldn't even need the PUD and wouldn't even be talking to us. Because they have everything, including the neighbor support without the containers. Because they had all the facilities there that they needed to do what they needed to do.
I think these are a good comment. Mike, I think you have a hard job. I think these are all valid points. Yeah.
Well, I think it's a noble project, and if it's affordable housing, it's something we need. I just feel like the design of the new stuff does not go anywhere near
what the neighborhood has established and tried to maintain for years. I'm not, this is part of the future, there's no question about it. But we still have to keep a little bit of our history alive. And I think that it would ruin the name, I think it would change the neighborhood, it would ruin. And that's just my opinion, so. Thank you.
All right. Well, with that, I think we'll move along to the next one.
Sorry, I don't have the agenda in front of me. Is that for the vehicle equipment sales?
Yes, CON 2025-00113.
All right, so thank you. Okay, so this is a conditional use request to allow vehicle and equipment sales. Property is zoned limited commercial. It's a quarter of
1 second, Chris.
Sure. Do you want me to start over or keep going?
You can keep going.
Okay. Sure. All right.
I'm for.
So this is a quarter of an acre in state. It's currently developed with a vacant building previously used for automotive repair. I don't know how long ago that was. In speaking with the applicant indicated during the MEPC meeting that it was abandoned for several years before he was able to acquire the property. So I'm not sure how long it's been not in use. So vehicle and equipment sales, in accordance with the Unified Zoning Code, they are subject to supplementary use regulations. So basically you have to be on a major street, you have to light it and screen it properly, has to comply with noise regulations, you can't do any outdoor repair work, and it prohibits various signs as well as elevated flags. So because it's located on a major street, that already fulfills one of the requirements. And should the conditional use request be approved, they must comply with the remainder. So they submitted a site plan as part of this application, and they intend to use the existing 2,700 square foot building as the office. The site plan also shows a total of 18 parking spaces in the front and side, and additional parking access via the alleyway. Just based on aerial photography, that's an additional about 5 spaces. The zoning code requires 1 parking space per 500 square feet of building floor area, 2 spaces for the first 10,000 square feet of lot area, 1 space for each 10,000 square feet of lot area used for sales, et cetera, et cetera. So we've determined that the site meets the parking requirements for that. But if approved, we recommend submitting a revised site plan that specifies what's going to be for the cars for sale, what's going to be the customer parking, what is going to be the staff parking. In addition to that, we recommend that they update the screening just because it's currently in poor condition, same amount. So there are no zoning cases associated with this property. Excuse me. The requested conditional use is in conformance with the community investments plan because the Wichita Future Growth Concept Map identifies the site as appropriate for commercial uses. And then the land use compatibility guidelines state that primary outdoor sales should be located along highway corridors or in areas where the uses have already been established. So in just by Google search, I'm seeing that there are 8 car lots within 1 mile of the subject site on the same street. And I believe, council member, you have an exact number for that I've heard in previous cases. So I don't know if you want to share that, but the requested conditional use is not in conformance with the Wichita Places for People plan. So strategy encourages infill and redevelopment that is contextual to the environment in which it is occurring. The anticipated development in conjunction, you have the residential dwellings there, you have the gas station. It may continue a predominantly automobile oriented street and may not balance the other transportation nodes. So we're talking white walking, we're talking biking, walking buses, et cetera, et cetera. And this is really where, we came to the recommendation of denial, is because the requested conditional use is not in conformance with the South Central Neighborhood Plan. It has its own locational guidelines that supplement those of the comprehensive plan. And they've identified least desirable land uses So for the South Central neighborhood, and so that includes hotels, bars, youth car lots, and resource processing industry. So staff is recommending denial of this application based on the golden rules. This went to the planning commission on September 25th, so last Thursday, and they recommended approval of the application. And so in your packet, you'll also see the supplementary use regulations that I touched upon earlier, as well as the site plan, the aerial map, the zoning map, the future growth concept map, the future land use map of the South Central neighborhood plan, and then some site photos. And with that, I will take questions. And then anything I can't answer in particular, I will defer to the applicant who's present. So, yes.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
Okay, so who is recommending denial and who's recommending approval?
So staff's recommendation to the planning commission and to DAB is denied.
Okay.
The planning commission held their meeting on this past Thursday. They recommended.
Okay, so planning commission and then staff and there.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to get clarity.
And is there an existing repair shop that's currently operating, or that's what used to be operating?
My understanding is that it is currently not in use, but I will defer to the applicant to confirm that.
Any questions for staff from DAB? Do we have the applicant here?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Pull it up.
Hi, my name is Luis Reyes. I am the owner for that property. I didn't know I need to change the the zoning for the building because I bought it like 2 years ago. But I still working on that place because there was a bad condition, on the back. There was a lot of trees, and I got 2 years working on that until I got my license on another place renting, and on this one, I say, okay, my license there, but I didn't know I have to change that.
Any questions from DAB?
The question is asked about, is there anything going on there now?
No, I'm still working, on the place.
But there's no business been operating out there.
Yeah.
I don't know what the intentions are for this. We're gonna do with it.
Sell cars and repair, is that the plan?
Yeah. Yeah, on the future, on the back, what is the alley, I wanna build a good fence and, put concrete on the back and all it to looks good. For me, it's hard to do everything on time. But like in front, it's ready, for selling cars.
Any other questions for the applicant from DAB? Any questions from the public?
Just a quick comment.
Yeah.
I'm Amy Liker, 1002 South Broadway. I just want to reiterate that this is not in conformance with the South Central Neighborhood Plan, which a group of neighbors worked very hard on back in 2019, and that was adopted by the city council. The plan says that the least desirable land uses include used car lots. We have a lot of problems on South Broadway already, and there's a group of neighbors that are working very, very hard to improve conditions, along the entire Broadway corridor and in the surrounding neighborhoods. And we just ask that, businesses that are not in conformance with what residents say they want in our neighborhood aren't allowed to be there. So thank you.
Any other comment from the public? All bring it back to Deb.
City staff recommendations denial and the neighborhood plan is very specific about not wanting to increase the number of car lots along that corridor. For the staffs.
File this. You wanna make a motion, not file a motion?
I motion to deny.
Tim has moved to deny. We have a second. Sorry, what?
I don't wanna second it, but I'll vote no.
Why would you not second it then?
Okay, why not?
Because the motion can't move.
It's a South Broadway thing. It's a, car lots all down there. I'm looking at buying my building down there myself.
Just so you know, a motion dies if it doesn't get a second, so you don't get the opportunity to vote no if you let it die, so.
Okay, so Tim has moved to deny. Jerry
One
seconds.
second.
All those in favor of the motion to deny, say aye.
Aye.
I think I have 3, is that correct?
4. Tim, Daniel, did you raise your hand? No, okay, well then never mind, it was 3. All those opposed? Same sign.
Aye.
Aye.
You have to vote, yes, remember?
Rick, what are you voting?
I didn't vote, but, gosh. I deny it, I guess, because of the current arrangements.
4-6. So your vote to deny has failed.
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve and follow staff, or planning commission's, recommendation.
I'll second.
Got a motion from Daniel, to approve with the conditions from MAPC as outlined in the packet.
No, it would be the planning commission
Yeah.
that voted, but the staff report is recommending.
So the conditions, yeah, just to clarify, so the conditions that are listed in the staff report that says like, should the MAPC approve, it is recommended that they adopt all charges or findings and have these conditions. Those were the conditions that were approved by planning commission.
Okay.
Then that I would,
Daniel, you are motioning to approve the request with the
recommendations,
recommendations of the
with
staff.
staff
report.
recommendations, yes.
And Vanessa, you would hold your second, okay. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All of those opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, that motion does pass 6-4.
Thank you very much, sir. All right. Moving on to the last one.
This is a busy DAB. This is the busiest DAB that we have of all of them, so I'm personally excited about it. Okay, so this is CON 2025-00119. The applicant for this case is requesting a conditional use to allow an accessory apartment. This is owned single family, 0.15 acres in size. So it's a quarter-mile southeast of the corner of East Mount Vernon and South Edgemore. It's currently developed with a single-family dwelling and a detached garage. The applicant has indicated that they intend to convert the detached garage into an accessory apartment on the property. So the regulations for accessory structures in single-family zoning, that needs to be 3 feet from either side of the property line and 5 feet from the back property line. And this is one thing that they did mention in the report, but this is if the garage is in the back half of the property. So, and then section 4A4 of the Unified Zoning Code requires one parking space for the accessory apartment and one space for the single family residence. So they can use a garage as well as the existing driveway to accommodate that part. So the accessory apartments are subject to section 3D6A of the zoning code. And those have those regulations, you know, one accessory apartment maximum, it has to be compatible with the main dwelling unit. It has to be under the same ownership, it cannot be divided. And then water and sewer also have to be connected. That's again to ensure that it doesn't get split off. And then I mentioned the setbacks earlier. The character of the neighborhood is low density residential. All properties are zoned single family and zoned single family dwellings. So there are no zoning cases associated with this property. And the subject site has access to East Bel Air Avenue, which is a two-way local street with no sidewalks. The community investment plan, namely the Wichita Future Growth Concept Map, identifies the site as residential. So staff is recommending approval of the conditional use. Granted, all the conditions listed in your staff report, and this is based on the golden rules. So I have not received any additional comment on the request, and it doesn't look like there's any in the staff report. So the staff report is indicating where the existing garage is and where the accessory apartment they are proposing to have it located. And then we have the site photos on page 9 of your staff report. With that, I will stand for any questions.
Questions from Dab?
Once it's zoned to be an apartment, it stays that way, correct? For indefinitely.
So it runs with the land.
And they'll be gone with the same homeowner that owns that house.
So if it transfers ownership, it will remain zoned for an accessory apartment.
Is there any others in that neighborhood that are doing the same thing?
Not to my knowledge. I'm just thinking the last time District 3 heard an accessory apartment, it's been a while. I don't recall presenting one for a minute.
Well, I know College Hill's full. And they're not happy with that. So I'm not sure down here if we start that. If every garage wants to turn into a shed, so or units, they extra income, but senior citizens are looking on that there, and this is to be everything. But it is income for the person living in front, I'm sure. A comment, not a question, yes.
Question about the zoning, would that, as it's currently zoned, if I owned that home, I couldn't have my mom living in that extra building unless I had it rezoned like this, is that correct?
Correct. So yeah, the garage as it is now is not living space. So we define living space as sleeping, eating, sanitation, and plumbing. And so that's what that would qualify for as a living space.
Okay, perfect.
Any other questions from Dab? Any questions from the public?
Are you Mr. Poole? No. But I don't see the applicant here.
Okay. We'll bring it back to Dab. I will go ahead and make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
And I will say, I'll clarify for Becca, to approve with the conditions as recommended in the staff report. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay.
Way to end it, guys.
Thank you very much.
Christina, thank you for spending the evening with us tonight.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, You can tell your friends about it tomorrow.
8:30 is not bad to get through for zoning.
No, it's not. See, we've gone longer before.
Less.
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I have a question.
Mike, do you have new business for us?
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you, Christina.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Well, everybody make sure to grab a cookie or a donut on the way out. I certainly don't need extras there. Couple of, a list of things like I always ramble on about. Next Friday, not this upcoming Friday, but next Friday, October 10th at 10 o'clock in the morning at the clubhouse in Clap Park, we will be having fire, coffee and conversation. So there will be firefighters there. This is Fire Awareness Month. So we are really pushing this message. Like one of the big things we talk about all the time is close before you doze. That certainly is something to be aware of. So I invite you guys all out to, again, Ducks, the clubhouse there at Clap Park. I know a lot of people work, but you know, some of the slackers like me, 10 o'clock, I'll be out there. Usually we aim for coffee shops, but we don't really have coffee shops in the 3rd district. We are going to be getting one here in a couple of months, hopefully. They're on Lincoln and Broadway. So I am looking forward to that.
What was the date and time for that again?
October 10th at 10 in the morning. Yeah, and that's again, the clubhouse at Clap Park.
Got that. Thank you.
We alluded to it earlier. Saturday morning, we will be out doing Operation City Shine, which is being led by Masons. They have graciously taken the time and we scrounged together resources. We actually have 2 other neighborhood cleanups that day. So I will be bouncing around and getting all smelly and everything before I come out there. But we would love volunteers. This is similar to the Brush Up Broadway that we had done previously in a couple of years. With some staffing issues around PD who led that effort. We didn't do that last year, but this is being done in advance of the firefighter memorial, which will be this Sunday at 1:30. The fire marshal, the old fire marshal will be the guest speaker. The governor's schedule changed and did not allow her to come. That's unfortunate, but this still is a day of reflection, and this is still a day of respectful celebration. I don't know if that's the exact word, because this will also be the dedication of the park as a firefighter memorial park, which is again coming with a lot of investment from the community. So if you have time Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, is that when they're kicking that one off? Okay, because I have one that starts at 7, one that starts at 8. This starts at 9.
They're starting at a hard 9 a.m. So we're asking volunteers to be there by like 8:45, 8:50. They're meeting kind of right behind South Patrol.
Yeah, and then we will be moving along, trying to hit the alleys and the Broadway corridor, cleaning that up as best as we can. Wear long sleeves. I will say that from experience. Bring protective gloves as well. That's just good advice for any neighborhood cleanup that we do. But I'd love to see as many people out helping as we can. And it's always good to get some cleanups going in our neighborhoods, especially some that haven't had any in a while. The Broadway corridor is a little tricky because it's essentially broken up into quarters. And so even when we had an active neighborhood association, we essentially got 1 quarter a year done. So the neighboring movement and SOCI, they have done one already on north of Harry, actually north of Lincoln. Was it north of Lincoln?
From Lincoln to Harry.
Lincoln to Harry, okay. And then they are doing another one later, north of Lincoln. So I do appreciate all the members of SOCI and the neighboring movement that have helped with that. But again, we'd love to have as many people up for that as possible. And then the next day, again at 1:30, is the firefighter memorial where they will read off the names of every fallen firefighter in our state's history who has lost their life. We will be talking or having some displays about some of the potential upgrades that we have. And that will lead me into the week after. So I fully encourage you to come to the firefighter memorial on Sunday at 1:30. It's Lincoln Park, right outside of, right next to Fire Station 2, next to the old firehouse.
This coming Sunday?
This coming Sunday, yes, sir. It really is, and when I was talking earlier about how striking it is that these first responders lay their lives on the line, when you see the families there, when you see just the reverence for the people who have given their lives, it really is something that it's good for all of us, especially in today's world where we're all clawing our eyes out, each other's eyes out. We have to have these moments where we do come together, where we do reflect on people who rise above all of that. And that should serve as a reminder and a goal for all of us to try and achieve. The following Saturday morning at 9:30 is our district breakfast, and that will be the 11th. Okay, so Saturday, the 11th at 9:30. This month, we are doing it, at the Child Advocacy Center. It's on Lincoln and Broadway, just a block in, so I guess that would be Topeka and Broadway. It's the old Lincoln High School. I attended that school for about 3/4 of a year in the first grade. I still remember exactly where the principal's office is. So when I'm there taking that tour, but we will be having breakfast there. We will be cooking. Some of the firefighters, retired firefighters will be there cooking breakfast for us this time. I'll be doing it as well. I think they can cook all right. You guys can tell I can cook really well, right? So we will still be having these best breakfasts in the city of Wichita. Yeah, Dave, right here, buddy. So we will also be talking the improvements at the firefighter memorial. So some of the things we will be discussing is potentially fencing off Lincoln Park, former Lincoln Park. What people would want to see as far as equipment upgrades, because we are talking firefighter themed equipment and firefighter themed splash pads. Potentially removing the bathrooms there. A firefighter memorial for firefighters who die of cancer as well. So there's a lot going on this month pertaining to firefighters. I would encourage you to come out to that breakfast. We're trying to get as many people there as we can, especially people along the Broadway corridor, because they're the people that have skin in the game as far as trying to keep that park secure. We want to make sure that we protect any future investments we have with this park. So please come on out. It'll be part of a good discussion. I always love to see you guys at district breakfast. I know many of you do attend several of them. I did have the chance. They implied to it earlier. Yesterday I did go out to the firefighter training grounds and acted like a firefighter for a day, including sitting inside the burn box where the temperature went over 1,000 degrees. A couple of the other council members and the mayor were there as well. We donned the firefighter gear. The small understanding of what they go through. I'm not gonna lie, I looked like a clown show whenever we did the drill and going upstairs for search and rescue. I tripped over the crowbar, I tripped over the hose, I tripped up the stairs. But it's important to understand that because you can't see but 2 feet in front of your face. And so just understanding what exactly they go through, putting their lives on the line on a daily basis. And last year we did lose one of our own during these conditions. So it was a really insightful event. Just understanding again what exactly they go through. It's a small taste, but it was very good training. And then we also had discussions on some apparatus issues, some staffing issues, where some staffing might be better suited in certain areas. So again, just as much information and perspective from the firefighters, that was really great. And I came home smelling like a forest fire. But that's also part of what causes the cancer with it, is they bring it home Their children are far more likely than the general public to actually develop cancer as well. So we are discussing some things such as a second batch of bunker gear to help with that. And also in fire stations from the point forward that we are building in the future, including cleaning apparatuses there, so that way, right when they come home, right when they get back off of the case there, off of the incident, they can put it right in there and start cleaning it. That way, they themselves are not carrying it around as well. So a lot of perspective. Last week, we opened up the Real-Time Information Center, or Real-Time Crime Center, depending on how you want to label it. This is in the 5th floor of City. Vanessa, or yeah, you were there. So I appreciated seeing you. It was really interesting. This ties into the drone program we talked about off of Fire Station 2. There's thermal seeking gear on these drones as well, so that way when they do respond to fires, they can tell where the hot spots are, they can tell where people are trapped inside. It was very interesting because the very first day we were there and they were showing it off to people, they actually caught a breaking and entering on Mount Vernon in our own district. So this is tying to response time. This is tying to just get our people out there as soon as we can, free us up, get as much information as we can. This can also be used for missing children, search and rescue. There's so many different areas where we can use this technology. There will be cameras placed in certain areas, such as areas of high illegal dumping, which I can't remember if we talked about this last time. We did recently pass some ordinances tying illegal dumping to the actual owners of trucks. That was one of the issues we had with prosecution earlier is, we can tell whose truck it is, but we can't tell if that's the person who's actually dumping. Some of these cameras are going to be going in areas like that. We showed the hotspot for illegal dumping. South Broadway was this big red dot in the middle of the city. Plainview and Hilltop as well. Those were definitely the biggest ones aside from Northeast Wichita. And there's another one in Northish Wichita around Delmar. So this will make it easier. We will be putting cameras in different places over the upcoming months and years. It's still going to be a trial at first, but we are going to make sure that we do what we can to help prosecute dumping, that we help find children who are missing. Other elements of the Real-Time Crime Center or Real-Time Information Center includes the block cameras that we've talked about, the license plate readers, gunshot detections, which are going up around the city, including our district, help us with quicker response times to get out. So this all ties together along with the recruit class that around 40 officers. We're backfilling the open positions as we speak. So hopefully we just get a lot more efficient, a lot better at stopping crime before it happens and quicker responses than we have here. So again, all the credit to Chief Sullivan and our command staff because they've really been pushing this and trying to bring the city along on 21st century rules. We had the workshop on the hotel motel ordinance. That is a big one in our district about licensing hotels and increasing some of the nuisance cases that we have, some things that we can tag people for. We know here along the Broadway corridor, not too far from us right now, what used to be legitimate businesses, and some of them still are, but many of them are not. Many of them have things going on that, quite frankly, they should not. So this, the hotel motel ordinance, which I think is going to be voted on here in a couple of weeks, it gives the chief of police the power to shut businesses down when they are out of compliance. Increased ability for our inspectors to get in and inspect, increased ability for our inspectors to ticket people for what they see on the outside. So a lot of times these hotels or motels let things grow up around, mattresses laying around, real blight along the Broadway corridor. And other areas of the city, along Kellogg, North Broadway. There's other areas where this applies as well, but this is one that I think is going to help continue the progress that we've had along the Broadway corridor here recently. It's slow moving, but I do believe we are moving in the right direction. Property maintenance, that's another one that we are looking at. I think maybe November's when that's coming up. Property maintenance, specifically slumlords, but one of the main things we're looking at with the property maintenance ordinance is streamlining the process. So if you have somebody who is a repeat offender, which mostly deals with multifamily slumlords, but there are some other areas as well. We can bypass the whole 30 days, given, because that's one of the things we see with the environmental court is again and again and again, it will delay and, oh, let's give you another 30 days, let's give you another 60 days. If they are repeat offenders like that, then we can streamline the process and actually get some action on these properties. 85% of the properties that we do ticket, it's tall grass and weeds or, down limbs or something like that. 85% of people clean it up within the first 30 days. And we want to keep our foot there. We don't want to break anybody's back. Some of these are elderly people who can't maintain their properties. Some of them are working people. I think most houses are out of compliance in some form. It might be the letters or the numbers on the side where your address is. It might be a volunteer tree or two. So we want to not crack down on people, but we do want to have the ability to go after the bad actors. So I think we might be discussing that a little more at the next district advisory board meeting. So that's another thing that we do have coming down the pipe. The last thing is it's spooky season. I'm all about it. I love it. We have the candy crawl. We have Wicked Island out at Watson Park. I take my kid there every year. I don't think she's falling for it. 2 kids disappear every year at this haunted island, but she might not fall for that anymore, but it's still a good time. So I really do hope that everybody has a good Halloween, a nice safe Halloween. Get out there, watch a couple of scary movies. The drive-in is showing some classic movies on the weekend. The Old Town Warren, I believe Mondays or Tuesdays, they have other movies that are being shown. Plenty of things around the city. Get out there, mix it up with people, enjoy this time of the year, because right around the corner comes the cold season and everybody's just miserable. So let's have a little bit of fun before that comes along. Aside from that, any questions?
Yes. I have a question that came to mind during the zoning issues. When somebody buys a property, I know the onus is on them to do due diligence, but things like along the Broadway corridor, somebody sees a property and they buy it thinking, I'm gonna do this with it, and that's a good thing because it's empty and I'm gonna open whatever. And then it comes to us and we're like, well, it doesn't fit the plan. Well, how is there a way we can get that plan into people's hands before they buy the property? So once you've bought it, you've made that investment, kind of on the hook at that point. And then if you can't get the zoning for what you need, you're more on the hook. And then we end up with dilapidated, can't get rid of it properties. It just seems like, is there some way in that process, or is it just bad actors in the real estate side of things that are not telling people, oh, by the way, you can't do this, or this, more than likely?
I honestly can't speak to that. I figure that in people going through any zoning processes, that is out there for them to see and discover. I'm not sure about when they actually buy the property. I think there's some personal responsibility that comes along with that one, just to make sure you dot your I's and cross your T's before you do purchase a property. That might be something to look into, but again, I'm not sure how involved we are with any purchasing or change of title.
Yeah.
If I could speak to that, sorry, did you want to make a comment first though? Did you want to make a comment first? I didn't see your hand. Okay, I can From a zoning perspective, I just wanted to just relay a couple things. So we as planners give presentations to a lot of big real estate groups in town. Like I personally have done it for Reese Nichols and for Ligand. And then that's in terms of like zoning, just getting them educated on the zoning code. So then they're able to hopefully relay that to prospective buyers or even to sellers, because you know, sometimes they don't know. And then I'm just gonna put in a little plug for historic preservation again, because it's my favorite thing. I check realtor.com every day to make sure that when there's a historic property that's listed, that the real estate agent knows that it's listed as a historic property. If it's not, I email them. So like on our end, we're trying to do some outreach and education, but also, like you said, it's really up to the buyer.
I guess I was thinking about the gentleman who bought the place for the car dealership.
Mhm.
And it just seems like, and maybe there's a future world where it's easy to find out information like that.
Yeah, and also bear in mind that there might be like language or certain other barriers to keep in mind.
Yeah.
That neighborhood plan's available on the website, on the city's website, so any property you buy there, you can access it, and it'll tell you that that neighborhood plan is available publicly to be read, and I think it's even translated. So.
I just don't know that I would think to look for something like that if I was looking for a property. I'm looking for the magic bullet to fix these problems, and I know that they don't exist, but I thought I'd ask who's out there, and I just didn't know about it.
Yeah, the neighbor or the associate neighborhood plan is a relatively new one. We have a few others in some neighborhoods. You can really dig deep and find Plainview's neighborhood plan from 30 years ago. Oh, older than I am. So it's tough in some situations, but yeah, the neighboring or the associate plan is maybe the second newest one. I think College Hill. Yeah, it just came out with one.
Bobby Knight had one for Hilltop.
Oh, yeah.
You don't know Bobby Knight. I lived a long time ago. You may not have been born.
Mike?
This may have been asked and answered, but I don't remember. When we approve zoning with conditions, landscape fencing, types of things, is there a group in your department that follows up a couple of years or?
Yes, so within our division, there's something called zoning enforcement. And the applicant cannot get their dealership license until all of the conditions are met for the conditional use.
Thank you.
Or occupancy, if it happens to be, like they couldn't get their occupancy permit for
For an accessory apartment,
Right.
right? They couldn't get the C of O unless all the conditions are met.
perfect.
Yep.
Any other questions, concerns?
Thank you for all your hard work.
No, thank you guys, and you guys saw it today. I mean, this is government, it's not the most efficient, it can on each other a lot, but I do appreciate your service. I get paid to do this. You guys don't. You guys do it because you care about your community, you care about our district. So I do applaud you guys for showing up and for your time and your service towards us, and advise me as best you can, even if it does end in a dang 5-5 tie. I appreciate you guys there. But I do appreciate you guys, your service for us. So again, I will see you here in a month, and I wish you guys safety and good health until I see you again.
See you tomorrow night. We'll see you Saturday.
Yeah, you're gonna get sick of me here.
Adjourn.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, everybody.
Did we get a vote count there? You guys want to keep in session for a minute?
Are you guys want to sit together?
Monday? Yeah, yes. It's like, yes.
Remember, Adrian, you guys found out who owns that building?
They had big plants out.
You know, I